Yes.
We'll
Choices.
start you guys off in the embassy, sitting around drinking tea. Unless you are like, Logan, we want a mod, it'll be up to you to figure out where you want to go. If you want a mod, I will get you there.
Okay. So, Mr. Mackay, good to see you again.
You too, Swade. How's it going?
Good. Especially when you don't remember anything.
You guys are both dressed as like the upper class people in the Old West, like the back east kind of guys.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got a bit of a population problem here. Is that still going on or no?
As far as I'm aware, I don't know. I'll stick my head out the door and have a look.
There's people sleeping in the hallway and such.
Close the door. Yes, it is still going on. Yes, we still have 800 to 1,000 odd refugees taking up.
Just out of curiosity, why do they see you as being responsible for taking care of them?
Because it's just the way things are. Most people seem to see me responsible for taking care of them. What do you think? Like you said, people said that I'm the leader. I'm not the leader. That's because most people expect me to take care of them. Because I tend to be the one that ends up organizing stuff, or, I was the one that set up the embassy. I was the one that started getting things moving on the White Dove.
Gotcha. So what can we do to help expedite that? Or do you like the hordes of people living in your house?
I would like to find them a new home. That is the issue, is finding them a suitable new home. All the zones that we've been to so far, none of them are suitable due to either racism against elves or being the zone that they had originally come from, or not really being very particularly hospitable for people to settle.
Do you like them? I mean, Raslin and I came up with a plan that we all load them back on that airship and send them through the one-way vortex.
What one-way vortex?
Well, remember that vortex that goes into Burlington that they used to fly an airship through? The one that has like a big seal over it?
The one that's currently sealed shut.
Yeah. We want to see them go into it and see if they make it back out and what happens.
Yeah, so the vortex is underwater.
I know.
Just like his body's face down.
Yes, so I'm not into genocide.
Gotcha.
I prefer to find a method, and that potentially is also why people expect me to solve it, because I try and solve things without involving mass murder and genocide and skinning people, etc.
I gotcha. So you're just more into the indenture servitude. Gotcha.
No, I would be quite happy if we could find a zone where they could settle and be their own problem.
Have you put any work towards that or no?
I've been trying to find new zones, yes. As I said,
any potentials? Anything you want to scout out, recon out?
Unfortunately, not every zone has issues like Tri-Kingdoms, and from my very brief initial look at it, initially I thought, oh, this might be promising. However, they appear to also have the whole race issue with elves. So places like Sherma, don't know where they would go in Sherma. 1,000 people turning up in the year 2000, 2001.
Just bring them right to Union Station. Nobody will care.
Yeah, but then there's that whole thing of them being able to settle somewhere and claiming a bit of land. And the fact that as I said, some of them are they're a mix of demi-humans as well as humans there. So, and that's the
been to Union Station? I don't think anybody will notice.
Quite possibly. I mean, one of the things I was hoping was that Doc Fulton would eventually turn up again, or somebody would develop their shadow walking to the level that I know Doc has, and we would be able to shadow walk to a land that was similar to MMO land. And then once we were there, we could then establish trumps there, or being able to then shadow walk them there in groups.
So are these people expecting you to take care of them when you get them to their new home?
I don't believe so. They just want assistance in finding somewhere new to live. I mean, strictly speaking, I'm surprised they're not expecting Alex Kinley to do it, because Alex Kinley was their demigod type thing, because he was considered their savior. So I'm surprised they don't keep saying, "Hey, has Alex found us a new home to live?" But they seem to have gotten over that since they've left MMO land, or maybe they've actually starting to see Alex Kinley for how he really is.
And they cannot permanently establish here because
Elves.
how many elves are there?
I'm not sure what the percentage of them, but they don't want to get separated into multiple groups.
Okay. So,
Otherwise, for example, I could potentially settle some of them out in Jonestown, as I've bought a house there, and that's on a large block of land about the size of a city block that could have multiple houses built there, and we could potentially pick up the manor house there and the logging station there and set them up there. But no.
what about Cyber Hong Kong?
They came from Cyber Night City. They don't want to go back to Cyberpunk world.
Okay. Moment.
So yes. Gothic's no good, because Gothic has a thing against elves.
So wait, outside you hear lots of different sounds of construction and stuff like that, just so you know.
Excellent.
So yes, Gothic's no good. I mean, Women's Wild West, maybe not. We've never explored further than Canada, mainly because none of us have dog sledding or dog sleds to get out of the almost Arctic area of the Women's Wild West, which is because it's far northern Canada, we believe. So, and it's perpetually in a snow blizzard sort of environment.
So
we have. Yep. Sorry, go.
Oh, besides Doc Fulton, how many other doctors are amongst the Doras?
So there is Dr. What's his name? There's one other doctor that I know of, but he's more a psychiatrist. Oh, actually, two other doctors. Although nobody would realize that one of who the other person is actually a doctor. There is
that crazy lady who skins people?
Yes.
That's the only doctor I would pick out of a crowd. Maybe that one.
Yeah, no, she's a psychiatrist.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the route they go.
Yes, the other doctor is Stephen Yang.
So why don't you get these doctors together and just start doing vasectomies down the line, a little ear trimming, and just put them into normal society?
Because Doras self-heal and they reset. Mildred, to give you an example, Mildred had plastic surgery. Actually, I was surprising how long it took, but she reset and the plastic surgery went away. And
Gotcha.
She went back to looking how she used to.
So that affects the other Doras, not just the Doras, but the other Doras.
Yeah, not just our group, but anybody that's a Dora has faster healing ability in these realms. That was one thing we found is previously when there was the firewall around us, when we went through the firewall on the other side, the things like our speedy healing no longer occurred. So a lot of those effects seems to be particular to the sub-shadow realms that we're within.
What about all those lost civilizations, like, the Incas, the Aztecs? Why don't we just go dump all their asses off in Central America somewhere?
Yeah, it's possible, except Central America here has basically zombies and sorry, not zombies. They're what's the term for it? They're basically possessed bodies. The local population is kept as slaves, and they're possessed by some sort of ghosts or spirits. There was a golden ones or red eyes or something. I'd have to look.
So you've got a group of dwarves and elves
and humans and
gnomes from an adventuring land where they had to kill for survival. And they're
well, that's the thing. So when they originally went to MMO land,
Mm-hmm.
you had all the PvPers settled in one area, all the people interested in crafting and stuff settling in the other area. These are all the
Right.
people that were interested in the crafting and stuff. These are not the PvPers. These are not the adventurers. These are the people that are interested in doing, being crafting and stuff like that in an MMO. Some of them have been adventurers. Some of them know how to use a sword, etc. But they're not. Yeah, they're not your and all their magic users went off on a quest to find the source of magic, and only 3 of them survived, and those 3 only survived because the others found them annoying and dumped them off the ship. We were never able to find the rest of them. We suspect their flying ship crashed somewhere into the jungle, hence why we couldn't find it. And the 3 that they dumped off were probably the 3 worst ones of the lot as well from a spellcaster perspective. So this is what we're dealing with. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Yeah,
pretty close. I was just picturing that vortex going around underwater. And
well, there did used to be a human meat grinder.
Nice.
That produced sausages. There was at one stage the Morlocks set up a temple in Burlington and would sound their signal, and basically caused all the citizens of Burlington to become hypnotized and then wander down into the temple through a gate into Night City, where they had this giant meat grinder that they then made giant sausages out of them. So, yeah, so it did used to be a meat grinder.
Where's this meat grinder now?
Night City got nuked.
Ah.
So, hence the meat grinder is no more, and that temple disappeared and from Burlington.
There you go, Logan. Looks like a NPC of the GM's choice gets 5 hero.
No.
And refills his hand.
Got it.
That big black plot dildo.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna play linguist, +5 to any one language. Now, with that, Logan, it doesn't say max 60, so I'm assuming that's one of the ones that you can actually raise above 60.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was actually working on one particular language with that card. There we go. I was playing the long game. So yes.
The PCs have so many fucking different languages and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so as of right now, you don't have any potential zones to send them through.
Unfortunately not. A couple of the zones we thought might have been potentials when we looked into it further, or when we talked to Darius and Claire about it. Darius and Claire being the leaders of the group. After we went through the pros and cons of them, they didn't like they were concerned about the setup of it.
So
post-apocalyptic, for example, was one of the zones we thought maybe because the human population had been decimated and stuff, so they could have potentially gone out and set up in the wilderness a bit away from the population. But I can't remember if there were actually people from post-apocalyptics actually became refugees from there and joined the MMO people.
It's true.
So you do realize that the more they build, the more this is becoming their home and the less likely they're going to leave, right?
Yes. However, it's going to get to a point where they're... So, one of the things that would be really nice, for example, is if there happened to be a continent equivalent to Australia on this world where they hadn't been discovered, and we could get them there. We could somehow get them there.
Right, and I brought that up to you, and you said it's not on your map. And I said, did you go look? And you said, no. You said, it's not on my map.
Yes.
Did you look at other maps?
So we've had a look at maps in several of the worlds that exist in what we consider the Genovia landmass situation. And we've spoken to people, and the landmass where Australia should be, there is no landmass. Not to say there's not something there. Well, we just haven't found. But the other problem we have is we don't, in this land, for example, we don't have an easy ability to go and look.
But all right, I'm trying to understand this, and I understand what you just said here, but you keep saying you want to find a land that hasn't been discovered yet, but it's not on the map, and so therefore you're not going to go look. But why? How hard is it to get a boat and tootle on out there?
Yes, we could do that. We could get a boat and tool on
They have
out there.
steamships now, right?
Yeah.
I kind of pulled my head out the window. Wasn't there like a docks and shipyard here or something like that?
There's dock and shipyards here, but
you can't get a boat.
We could do that if we wanted to. Yes, we could. If we really wanted to, we could go get a boat and we could go on a month's ocean cruise and see what we find.
Excellent. I pick up the humidor of cigars and grab the whiskey. I'm on. Let's do it.
We need to organize it first. You know, things like food, an actual boat, crew, who's going.
I look at the 1,000 people outside building shit. Right?
Yes, some of them know how to man a flying ship. They don't know how to man a water ship, as far as I'm aware.
And why don't we take the flying ship?
Because it's not here in this land. As far as I'm aware, they did not bring it with them across here.
What about the flying saucer out in the shed?
Do you know how to fly a flying saucer? I don't.
I flipped through the manual, but we could figure it out as we go.
I mean, if you want to get see if you can
amazing
fly it.
How much you learn in the crisis situation.
And the other thing is, as far as I'm aware, that one doesn't have fuel.
It's missing a few other components too.
Yes, it is. That is not. Well, you've been tampering, have you?
No. I just looked.
Okay. Yes, I know it's missing.
I read the manual. I'm like, oh look, it's missing this big thing.
Yes. I do know, unless somebody's gone and claimed it now, I do know of where another flying saucer is, which has fuel.
Up in the mountain?
But it's not in this realm. It's in a different zone.
Humidor's getting heavy.
I lighten it by having one.
Yes, in the Slee, exactly right, in the Slee Stack land.
I thought about that flying saucer also as something to retrieve.
But yes, if we had someone who thought they could fly it, then it would be a case of then we could shadow walk it back here or shadow walk it somewhere.
Please reduce your hands down to 4. Russ's monster is here.
I shall get crime scene cover up.
That's a great card.
It is, and
so I'm going to keep my get out of jail free card then.
And Chris and I used it to great effect, but unfortunately, the zone that we used it in is no more. So, well, as far as we know, it's no more. We haven't been able to go
so
back to it yet.
I'll get rid of the flying, fancy flying then, and since we're not going to go steal a flying saucer. I was
Russ,
ready.
Could you say something, Russ? See if you're getting picked up.
Hello?
Hello.
You're coming in kind of echoey and stuff again, like the mic's
I'm loading StreamYard. My mic works just fine, but StreamYard maybe doesn't. Here we go.
Maybe using a different mic than what you think it's using also, if it's possible.
There are no other mics, yeah. That would be a good idea, but nope.
Nope. And he's gone again.
He'll be back. So
yes, so we could get a boat and try and go on an ocean cruise and see if we could find a landmass that is Australia.
Oh, why don't you go out there and commission a ship, get your crew ready, and
okay, how about
now? Give us something to do next year.
Same.
It's listenable, but it's not as good as it was in the past.
All right, let me see if I can adjust the position. Why the hell is this thing?
Actually, it's not bad. I would probably leave it where it is, because otherwise it'll, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You may eventually need a mic like what these guys have or something. I do not know.
Yeah.
We want to hear your sultry voice talking sweet Smurf.
I'm going to try switching over. Did that work?
What are you guys hearing?
I did notice a slight change when you switched, but could you talk a little bit more, please, Russ?
Okay, yeah, I'll talk a little bit more. let's see. What I did was I switched over to the Microsoft Communications
Yeah, sounds
input
good.
instead of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds
cool.
better. Yeah, cool.
It does
All right.
actually sound a little bit better.
Or I
Yeah.
can click disable audio processing. Let's see if this sounds any better. Does this sound any better?
I think so.
I'm talking now. Does that help at all?
It's a bit
You sound
softer.
a bit softer, but I don't know if that's because you're talking softer or it's actually made your voice softer.
No, that's the audio processing. Okay.
I like it before a little bit better.
Can you make it sound a little more Smurfy?
Mm.
Yes, I probably can.
Perfect.
All right, let me get my desktop straightened out here.
Cool. Well, he does
So,
that. Just so
yes,
you know,
we-
Ralph, getting on a steamer ship and going exploring for continents that may or may not be there will be a large adventure that Logan needs to
I
prep.
agree. I agree completely. That's why I said get it commissioned now, and we could do it next year.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the style of the time, having actually read a book about Roosevelt going and exploring one of the tributaries of the Amazon, your first step is to find the most incompetent person you can and get them to arrange what to pack, such as the presidential wine selection, et cetera, just all kinds of really stupid shit nobody in their right mind would bring with them.
That's why I grabbed the cigars and the whiskey first.
You were used to this sort of travel.
All right, let me draw up.
I mean, the
Ireland. Drop them off in Ireland.
Now
Yeah.
you're just being mean. I mean, these are nice people.
Okay.
So the other possibility would be so Gothic is a similar world to this.
What's this?
In regards, as far as we can tell, if you look at the timeline in Gothic, it's like this. If you assume that these are humans and not beastkin, that this is in the past of Gothic.
Why don't you
Plus,
just
you're
lie to
sitting
them?
around in the embassy. You're dressed like
You
one
found
of the people from back east with fancy clothes and stuff like that. Just so you're aware, Russ.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, Swain.
Oh, why don't you just lie to them, tell them you found the perfect spot for them, and just go dump them back home?
Getting them there is the challenge. I can no longer create gates for a start, so that sort of
Gotcha.
stops me opening a gate or getting a gate pointed back to there. So I'm assuming they came here via Clems, a trickle at a time. Like
The MMO people?
So
Yes.
wait. All right. So the MMO people are on like your chunk of land, which is owned by the embassy, right?
Yes.
How
And
large
we've
is the
brought
rest
up,
of the town?
I don't know. It seems to grow every time I'm here. Time doesn't seem to work. Time seems to be accelerated for certain things. So for 6 months may pass, but outside it's almost like a year, 2 years have passed sometimes with the way changes happen.
Right. And so,
So I don't know at the moment how big San Angeles is.
So if we use a little biological agents, it'll accelerate the decrease in population, and then your MMO people with their improved resistances can expand out into
This,
the
yeah,
empty
but
city.
yes, but a couple of things. This is not the only beastkin city or beastkin town on this landmass. The other ones, but the fact that there's elves here, then that may cause an issue with the beastkin then deciding that humans are allied with the elves, and then means that the Australians are allied with the elves, and that'll make relationships a bit tricky.
A bit.
Sure glad I'm not an ambassador.
Yep. So yes, but yeah, I was just going to say the other thing we could do, although I don't know what the top speed of a flying car is. That in Gothic, you could potentially get a flying car and then fly.
And
But I
crash
don't
it.
think the flying cars have got the speed to make that worthwhile. The other thing you could do is we could go to somewhere where if we had someone who could pilot an airplane or something, or a fast-moving craft.
Helicopter. I can pilot a helicopter.
Yeah, but I don't think the helicopter's got the flight range. What's the flight range of a helicopter?
Good question.
Small.
Not real good.
Yeah. So we're talking about, for example, going to see if Australia exists.
Oh.
And because as far as we're aware, Australia doesn't exist on, well, from all the maps I've looked at, in the various Genovian-based worlds, there is no Australian continent. But we haven't actually gone and physically checked it out ourselves to see, is it actually there hidden, or is it actually there and nobody's but discovered it for whatever reason or what?
Right.
Plus, Pete, give me a memory roll on something else.
Memory. Yep.
Don't forget the Izzo trucks.
Oh yes, I hadn't forgotten about the Izzo trucks.
Yes, but you haven't briefed Ralph on the, or Swade on the Izzo trucks.
No,
so
I have not. That
Swade
is
is
true.
not knowing of that yet.
That is true.
I don't think I know either.
Oh,
So think Starship Troopers, giant insects, the Izzo trucks. So in the Genovian worlds, I don't know if I don't recall it being so much of an issue in Gothic, or it maybe it just hasn't come up. But in here and in Melwix, the human version of this world, they've got a big thing against the Izzo trucks, which seems to be large insects that travel in swarms and stuff. And the last time we were in Melwix, there was rumors that there was a Izzo trucks incursion nearby somewhere in the water, and they needed someone to. So it's possible Australia's out there, but it's inhabited by the Izzo trucks.
Right.
Because assumably they're coming from somewhere.
You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just never go look.
I'm not saying we don't go.
If we don't look, they're not there.
No, I'm just saying it's just something else that needs to be considered about, especially if you go sailing across large bodies of water. That's potentially going to cause us grief, especially with the way the gods are so fickle in these worlds. So yes. So dems be some of the challenges.
Okay.
Okay.
At some point in this episode, I'm going to eat this delicious cupcake right in front of everybody. So just wait for it.
you monster.
Okay.
So yes.
So what else is pending that we could actually take care of?
So let's see. So things I've noted down that I thought we could potentially look into. Continue the New Sun investigation. Look into the large hole in the ground at Johnstown, which I believe there is something to be checked out. It's not just a hole in the ground.
Yes.
Go and see what's happening in Melwix or post-apocalyptic. Try and go to the Tower of Eyes and see if the Eye of the Unicorn's there. Check out, see if we can find more about the mold issue that was getting looked into in Voros, I should say, by the shadow versions of a couple of our group. And there could be others, but off the top of my head, there are just some of the things I had that could potentially be looked into. It just depends on what people are feeling like doing and what people are interested in looking into. And each one's got pros and cons about them, obviously.
Whatever tickles that guy up there. Logan.
What guy?
Oh no, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. I am ready.
All right.
Except for a giant sea voyage across the fucking end. I have no idea. The problem I've got with prepping something like that is that unless the player for wandering around, prep normally follows action, because Otherwise, you'd be amazed how many times people have said, we should go do this. Definitely go do this. And I prep it. They never go and do it. Never.
I sit in this chair and Logan says, I've got a voyage to a continent that may or may not exist. I'm in. So whenever I'm in the chair, I will go.
Completely ready. I'm not sure what he meant by the mold part. Mold?
In Vorox, when there was a UFO that was abducting people.
Oh, that. Yeah. That's ready.
Yeah, that. Do you know what I mean now about the mold issue?
Totally.
Okay, I'd like to know what you mean about the mold.
Were you intending to run that adventure again?
No, I don't think I can pull that one off again. So you are free to discuss that.
All right. So we were hired. Are you two familiar with Voras and the Celestac civilization there?
Yes.
All right. So we were hired by the agency to look into some alien abductions that were occurring. When we looked into them, people were getting abducted and probed. And when we turned up, it was myself, Mildred, and Freddie Aeolus. And we went to a, what do you call it? Not a sort of like a survivor support group type thing, as in people had been abducted. And when we walked into the room, they freaked out. One guy jumped out the window, viscerating himself and killing himself. The others went into a catatonic state, except for a couple of them, which made us suspect. And they were sort of pointing and gasping, and then collapsed. And since they were pointing in our direction, we surmised that. Yeah, well, the first thought was, what's Freddie done this time? But no. No, it was actually Mildred they were freaking out about. So cut a long story short, I got abducted. Unfortunately, I didn't resist the drugs. We managed to triangulate and find where the UFO was coming from. And it turned out there was a good version of Doc Fulton and a good version of Mildred. They had the goatees, etc., both Mildred and Doc Fulton. They were abducting people and alien probing them to see if they were infected with, I think it was a mold or a bacteria. I'll have to look at my notes again, and to work out the area and what the source was to isolate it down. And there is a cave with a UFO parked there, unless they've come back and grabbed it, and some large containers of alcohol, unless Mildred or Alex have gone skipping gleefully there and drank it all. As well as, I think it was 27 alien probes or something.
Jeez.
Anyway.
And that's the good versions of them? They're abducting people and checking them for mold?
Trying to find some nasty mold or something that they need. 27 alien probes there was.
All right.
Fully functioning, a working alien spaceship that the weapons are missing. The tractor beam works for abducting people. The nav system was offline. But yes. An evil fungus. They're trying to work out the epicenter of an evil fungus. And the only way to do it was with the probe, apparently. So that's what that one was about. As far as I know, nobody's looked into it. When we were in Johnstown recently, there was an issue with crows attacking people if they left the town, which we dealt with. But there was also, we found a large pit there that there was something about it that we believed that needed further investigation.
Oh, do you have the amulet?
No, Mr. Crow King, I kill people and eat their hearts, have it.
Oh, great. So when are we going to kill Alex?
I don't know. But yes. So we don't need to worry about the crows or the ravens or whatever. No, that's why it's the good Mildred, not the evil Mildred. Not our Mildred. That's why it was the good Mildred.
Yeah, that's saying the real ones would skin people alive, and
yes.
So Alex would be screwing the corpses, and I mean.
So we're on the bad guy team, right? Is that what you're telling me?
No, we're not on the bad guy team. Just some of our people are a bit more grayer than others. Yeah, and slightly more crazy than others as well.
They got pills for that.
Yes. But yes.
Yeah, they're lead.
No, I wouldn't
come with a
consider it.
priming cartridge, and
Exactly. I was going to go with that one.
I wouldn't consider us the bad guy people. We've done things to save the multi-zones, etc., several times, and
yeah. But then again, some of us have also murdered 8 people for Dragon Dawn who are running a counterfeiting operation. So, you know,
well, yeah,
I decided to be good,
that.
but mostly because I don't lose my mind then.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do something good because I'm losing my mind.
Grey would be a better way of describing it, but yes. So that's what the fungus is about. The Tower of Eyes, as I said, is where we're wondering if, because of the whole thing about the eyes have it, etc., possibly that is where the Eye of the Unicorn or whatever the hell the other jewel is.
We should send Freddy. Freddy can knock that out.
That one is from memory of the world, of where the land that we were in, where it's more towards the Courts of Chaos, because it was a bit more chaotic than normal places. Yes, Melweeks and Post-Apoc, I've noted them down simply because I don't know if anybody's checked them out recently, so I've got no idea what the situation is with them. I certainly haven't been to them for several months, and I have not seen anybody writing about them to say that they've been there and this is what the current situation there is in those 2 lands.
Well,
so I don't know
there's a couple of heroes already working on taking care of the mold problem. We could just let that one go, and then
oh yes, leave it up to our alter egos. That's
and then why don't we you want to go check out the hole? I mean,
yeah, we can check out the hole.
I'm sure we're geared and ready for that, right?
We possibly are. Let me just double check my gear. Zone storage. I don't know if I've noted it there or if it's on my character sheet.
Yeah, that's something. I lost all my gear last episode, so.
Oh, did you? That's not good.
Yeah, we should be role playing this, right?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, as in Hong Kong or China?
I lost all my gear in Hong Kong when the dog came after me, and the other people. I don't remember their names. They were convinced that throwing away the dog statue would do something, and I knew it wouldn't. But you know, they fucking threw the thing out the window, and rather than dump the pack, they threw my entire pack out the window, where it landed on some triad members driving a car, fell through their windshield and caused them to crash into a telephone pole where it exploded, along with the big chunks of Chris that were also in my pack. I've been knocked down to body stuff I was carrying on my body and stuff I was carrying in my pack. So I could use a pistol, I could use body armor, and I have no Shermer or Voras cash because the detective agency didn't pay me last time because I was new. And so I'm wondering if anybody's got Shermer or Voras cash and if I can tool up.
As a reminder, by the way, the hole is in the same zone you are now.
Yeah.
Right. Which means no Uzi, that kind of stuff, because even the modern climbing gear I'm a little worried about.
So I have 100 meters of climbing rope, a bag with pitons, harness, ascenders, descenders, etc.
Right, but are they the kind of things you'd find in this zone?
No, they're modern 21st century, but I've already used them in this zone.
Okay.
Mildred, Alex, and I used them to descend in the sewers underneath here. We used it. That's how we got to the place to get to the halfway in.
Okay.
We used to get, as well as gas masks, but then went back and collected it.
And nobody in the zone witnessed you using it, though.
No, we're in where the hole is in the ground is in the middle of the forest, so nobody would witness us using it. And the gear is innocuous enough that it's not screaming electronics or anything, so I think it would be okay.
Okay, all right. I'm not quite sure about the MIB rules. when they come, when they don't.
It depends on how obvious it is when it's electronic stuff. Like flying a helicopter in towards the city, that attracts them.
Well, yeah, I could see that if you somehow got a helicopter to Furry Western, yeah, I can see that being a problem.
Yeah.
So how large is
Freddie
this?
and I did. How large was it, Logan?
Pretty fucking big. You could easily toss like a bus into it.
Wow, that's some hole.
Big bus. Maybe even a train. You're not really sure. You didn't see the bottom of it. I don't think anybody looked really hard, but you didn't see the bottom.
No. After almost getting drawn to jump into it, so I decided.
Oh yeah, you definitely know that the bottom is a lot deeper than the light would go.
Yeah.
Yep.
After Maddox pulled me away from the edge with his grapple hook, I decided not to go back and look down into it.
Yeah.
Okay. On the New Sun issue, we did discover that he's involved in a corporation called New World Industries.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody looked into them?
New World Industries were the people that bought out a subsidiary of New World Industries, I think through some shell companies, was the company that bought out the MMO company in Night City that had all the cryopods, that the people that are refugees here, their actual real bodies in Night City, so got hold of their cryos and their bodies, and then their bodies started disappearing. They started disappearing as their bodies were taken offline and presumably being experimented on and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the most recent encounter. Now in my previous occupation, I've read some stuff about some certain subsidiaries of them doing experiments with Shugnir's milk.
Dramatic sting here, yes.
Very well. Here you
go. They're basically a pro-mythos cult running an organization, running a corporation for I can't remember it's Nyarlathotep or who it was they were trying to bring back, but yeah.
Okay, so New Sun might lead us to New World Industries, but New World Industries isn't likely to yield any information about New Sun.
Probably not.
Right.
So it's quite possible that New Sun is the big N.
That's kind of racist.
As in he could be an avatar for Nyarlathotep.
Oh, okay.
Yes, not from a racist, but
not that end. Got it.
Not that big end, but the outer god, is he, or whatever he is? Great old one,
Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep, yes.
Yes, he is. He is one of the old gods.
Yes. So
as I remember.
So it's quite possible New Sun is actually one of his avatars.
So
or he is going to be the vessel for him.
So do we have like elder signs kitted up and stuff?
Nope.
That might be a good idea.
I don't know anyone that knows how to make them. Do you?
Freddie and I don't remember who else it was. Solved. I think it was Alex. Solved a murder mystery, and there was an elder sign on the zombie. So if Freddie or Alex can remember it, they know what an elder sign looks like.
Oh, I've seen elder signs. I know what they look like, and Doc had a glove enchanted with an elder sign, so he could fight a Shoggoth. But unfortunately, the mages that created that elder sign and enchanted it, all went off to look for the source of magic and never came back.
Right.
Right. When you explore, you never come back.
It's quite possible that the agency in Vorush,
Yeah.
the people there that read the books and stuff, some of them may know how to create an elder sign.
Yeah, Henry Young he's the one who helped me identify what the dog statue was. So he's got some mythos, and I asked him if he could lift the curse, and he says he has dispellers on call who would be probably well briefed in mythos.
Okay, so the question is, what was the statue of? I know it was a Cho-Cho statue.
It was a Cho-Cho statue. Yeah, he wanted me to specify which. I told him what it was, and he wanted me to specify which particular dog with wings deity. So I'm a little confused about that because that seemed kind of distinctive, but apparently there's multiples.
So he wasn't aware of a particular one that the Cho-Cho may be associated
No,
with?
it was a Cho-Cho, yeah. It was a Cho-Cho statue. We did determine that.
Yeah. Okay, but he couldn't tell you which dog with wings.
No, he couldn't tell me which dog with wings. It seems like there should be, two, not so many that he needs to know which dog with wings, but apparently there's many dogs with wings. He wanted to know which elder god, and apparently it was associated with some elder god because his dispellers could not do anything about it.
Okay. So what did you guys want to do?
I'd like to investigate New Sun, honestly.
Okay.
The only problem with that is Hong Kong has basically exploded. Not literally exploded. I mean, it's just, there's a full-scale war going on in Hong Kong.
You mentioned having a Trump for mainland?
Yeah, but I gave that to what's Jason's character? Raslin Rad. I gave that to Raslin Rad because he was very and keenly interested in exploring mainland China. So.
Okay, so that's probably not gonna, because I'm just concerned that from what you guys had said about the way Hong Kong is, if we did get to, assuming our Trumps work for that hotel and hasn't been taken damage, that getting out of Hong Kong will be a challenge in on itself. I don't know, how did you guys get out of Hong Kong? Did you go to the airport or did you get a boat?
We trumped out.
How did you trump out? How did you get to the mainland from Hong Kong?
From Hong Kong. I'm sorry. Mainland from Hong Kong, we, Raslin had, Colburn had contracts, and he called them, and they brought us a car, and they drove us out of Hong Kong into the mainland.
Okay, so using the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But yes, as I said, my concern would be that if we don't have the Trump for China, it's... No,
I gave that to Raslin, so
yeah,
we'd have to get there through Hong Kong probably.
Okay. So what are your thoughts, Wade? Are you curious to investigate that further, or you just want to go check out the hole?
I'm up for take out Chinese and hookers, whatever you guys want to do. It's the only good thing I've found in Hong Kong so far.
It is quite possible that we'll find all the information we have is just dead ends anyway, so I'm not sure where else it'll go.
Right. Basically, all we've got at New World Industries is no.
Well, there's the sister in.
There's the Forbidden City. Yeah, that's it.
Just real fast, I'm sorry to intervene here, but did you ever think about taking all your MMO people and pushing them through the pattern and just seeing which ones were worth keeping?
Well, it's
just throwing it out there.
No. I mean, if some of we were trying to, well, the thing is that we were trying not to have too many people walk the pattern that Doc created, because there was concerns that the more people that walked it, the more effect it would have, the more destabilizing the balance would be, because the pattern would have more people walking it.
It causes imbalance to the point that somebody who's interested in keeping the balance and has a yin-yang sign with an infinity sign over it is now keenly interested in us. I've got to imagine that they're the equalizing forces of neutrality or something. We're also under constant surveillance, and so I assume there are Amberites watching us, or someone from some higher shadow who is concerned that we are screwing up. You sound like you're gearing up to walk the Logris, Joshua. Is that right?
Not so much, as opposed to getting my original form back. I believe there may be somewhere along the shape-changing tree that may assist me in doing that.
Oh, okay. Because we posited that walking Logris might bring things back into order, but right now it seems like Chaos is really pissed and trying to take over various areas that they were not bothering with, and so.
The issue I had, the big issue is that having walked the pattern, any of us that have walked the pattern, walking the Logris is going to be harder.
Yes, Joy.
And since I don't feel comfortable in even being able to rewalk a pattern currently after having been reset, there's no way I feel that I would be ready to walk a Logris.
Yeah, exactly.
So while I may have
is it about walking the Logris to restore balance for a number of people that have walked it, or is it more about creating a second Logris?
It's possibly either, but to create a second Logris, if it's anything like creating the pattern, you have to walk to create the pattern, you had to walk the pattern within the Jewel of Judgment to become not aligned with it, not focused with it, attuned to it, to be able to then use it to create a new pattern. So I'm assuming you would not be able to create a Logris without having walked it. Again, it's assumptions. That may not be. Maybe you can create it without walking it, but again, where would we find that information out? Unless we decide to do a massive shadow walk to Courts of Chaos.
Do you remember the original pattern that Fiona had us walk? Does anybody determine who made that?
We believe that the pattern that's within Castle Amber, we believe Dworkin made that. Well, actually, depending on the stories, the pattern in the Castle Amber is actually a shadow of the actual prime pattern, which exists in the actual prime realm as such, which is one level up beyond the Castle Amber. Swade may know more about it due to his background.
Hey Pete, here's a good card, Double Critical Range. I don't know if you want to throw something out that's junky. I don't need it.
Yeah, hang on a second. I've got.
Since you're in charge, you might need a little extra boost.
What's your cards like, Russ? Have you got crap cards or good cards?
I've got very good cards. I've got Opponent Fails, Reroll, Limited Retrieve, Slip Up, Victory, Skill plus 15.
And you got.
I have to discard 2.
Yeah. I've got to discard 3 cards.